Unlisted videos. Insider drops. The only way in is through my private SMS list.
Hillary Clinton just sat under oath and denied knowing Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, but wait, there's more. The same woman who orchestrated the Russia hoax, who called on foreign governments to censor Americans, now claims total innocence about the world's most connected predator. Her deposition was even halted after unauthorized photos leaked. So what is she trying to hide? You see, this isn't just about Hillary's past, it's about accountability for America's elite. If Clinton can orchestrate a years-long hoax to overthrow a sitting president and walk free, what else can she get away with? You see, we're watching the two-tiered justice system in real time. You see, while ordinary Americans face consequences for the actions, the political establishment protects its own. Harvard's Larry Summers just resigned over his Epstein ties, but Clinton's, they get a pass? This deposition could expose the web of corruption that's been strangling our republic. And the stakes could not be higher. Either we have equal justice under the law, or we have none at all. Speaking of things that the establishment does not want you to see coming, yeah, something is brewing in America. Of course, you can feel it in the air. The tension, the uncertainty, elite figures like Hillary Clinton sitting under oath while Harvard officials resign in shame. The problem? You never know the full story until after the fact, after the crash, after the collapse, after your savings disappear, after it's too late to protect what you have worked for. And here's the brutal truth. You can't safeguard your wealth after disaster strikes. You have to be ready now. All this chaos, the warning signs, the corruption at the highest levels, it may be signaling something much bigger coming for our economy and our currency. That's why smart Americans are turning to noble gold investments to protect their wealth with precious metals. Give them a call or visit the link in the description, nextnewsgold.com. But here's what's really explosive. Clinton demanded this deposition be televised live. Why? Because she thought she could control the narrative, like she did with Russiagate. Then Benny Johnson drops an unauthorized photo from Lauren Boebert, and suddenly the whole thing gets shut down. What was in that photo that spooked him so bad, and why is Clinton calling on foreign governments to censor Americans while claiming she's innocent of everything else? Here's that moment. They had cameras staged outside of the location where the hearing was taking place, the deposition was taking place. Wall Street apes. Hillary Clinton says she never met Jeffrey Epstein under oath, and she storms out because a photo of her was taken and posted on social media. Here's what happened. Nobody cares if a photo was taken. She got caught lying and needed literally any excuse to run out. Listen carefully here to what's going on when the photo was leaked. Did we lose the connection? Oh, okay, 1 second. Let me see if I can get that reconnected real quick. It was connected. I will just reconnect it now. And then you'll be able to hear exactly what was going on. Okay, it should be working now. Let's see here. There we go.
Can you explain what the picture is?
If you look on your Twitter feed, you know who it came from?
I've actually seen that. Can you explain what the picture is?
If you look on your Twitter feed, you know who it came from?
It came from Benny Johnson. He said Lauren Boebert gave it.
Yeah, look at Benny Johnson's feed. Good? We'll be back. Thanks.
So that was no doubt the moment that they said, okay, we've got an excuse. We've got an escape plan. We can find a way out of having to be deposed. Now, the news as it came in, Hillary Clinton testifying under oath that she has no information on Epstein's child trafficking network and does not recall ever meeting him. Clinton claims she's innocent of trafficking and torturing children. Does anyone believe this?
Associated Press is reporting Hillary Clinton in testimony says, and she's under oath, she has no information on Epstein's criminal activities and never recalls meeting him. Jason.
That may be true, but I think the question is, what about the money? I think what you're going to see from this, again, no allegation of necessarily breaking the law, but what about the money? I think the money trail is the primary question, or one of the questions that the Clintons are going to ask. Hillary Clinton's going to be asked. Donations that went into the Clinton initiative. What about the Global Foundation? And what were the introductions? Because the soft power of having a former Secretary of State or having a First Lady making introductions, opening doors, there are going to be a lot of questions about that.
A lot of questions still need to be answered, but of course she runs out. The bombshell testimony sparking fierce political reactions, with Trump supporters immediately calling for accountability. Eric Spracklin posting this: Hillary Clinton should have been put in prison during Trump's first term. I can't be the only person who remembers chanting "lock her up" at every single rally, and Trump literally saying she'd be in jail if he were president during the debates. And just this moment, of course, was probably one of the most historic moments in debate history.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
We want to remind.
Oh, one of my favorite moments in Donald Trump history. Well, Craig's demand justice for getting our first visual confirmation of the historic testimony actually happening. This is the image in question that was sent by Lauren Boebert to Benny Johnson. The first image of Hillary Clinton testifying under oath about Jeffrey Epstein to the Republican Oversight Committee. The first time Hillary has had to answer real questions about Epstein. Clinton does not look happy. So here's the picture. And apparently the reason that she used this as an excuse to run out of the deposition was because it was just unflattering. Unflattering. Yeah, she needed a reason to escape, and that is the escape hatch that she chose. So the photo evidence confirms what many have suspected. Clinton's testimony is real, but her claims of ignorance are facing immediate skepticism. Hillary Clinton testifying under oath before the House Oversight Committee. She has no information, apparently, on Epstein's criminal activities and never recalls meeting him. Do you believe that? And Democrats aren't staying silent on this. They're firing back with their own demands for Trump to face similar scrutiny. Robert Garcia, before the Hillary Clinton deposition: let's get President Trump in front of our committee.
I'll answer that. I'll answer that question. So let me go ahead and we're going to answer one or two questions. Let me just also say, I think today also sets a precedent. So I want to be very clear that we have said from day one that we want to talk to former President Bill Clinton, and the other person we want to talk to is current President Donald Trump. And so we should be very clear that now that we're going to hear from former President Clinton, I hope that Chairman Comer and the Republicans will join us in demanding that the person who actually appears more times in the files than the former president, who we want to speak with, is President Donald Trump. And so let's get President Trump in front of our committee to answer the questions that are being asked across this country from survivors, from those who have been brutally attacked and raped, sometimes as children. Let's release the files and answer one or two questions. Thank you.
So should the Clintons have come forward sooner?
Yeah. Good luck pulling the President of the United States in front of that witch hunt. The partisan divide reveals something shocking. Even Democrats may be turning against the Clintons when it comes to Epstein. Here's James Comer.
Certain documents. Then the motion was amended by Scott Perry to include subpoenas for various names. I think there were 8 names originally, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. Everyone that was included in that subpoena has already either been interviewed by the Oversight Committee or sent in a statement that they had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of the investigation, except the Clintons. We worked for 6 months to get the Clintons to come in, and then they acted like they were going to come in, and then they didn't show up. And obviously we moved to hold the Clintons in contempt. And I think one thing that surprised the Clintons, they assumed the Democrats on the committee would vote in a partisan manner and not vote to hold the Clintons in contempt. And what they learned was a majority of the Democrats on the committee either voted to hold the Clintons in contempt or voted present. And I think that's a statement that this investigation is serious. It is a bipartisan investigation. The American people have a lot of questions. To my knowledge, the Clintons haven't answered very many, if any, questions about their knowledge or involvement with Epstein and Maxwell. Again, no one's accusing at this moment the Clintons of any wrongdoing. They're going to have due process, but we have a lot of questions.
Oh, yes, many questions. Clinton's team tried to control the narrative by releasing her statement at a venue that sounds more like theater than a courthouse. Hillary Clinton releasing her opening statement ahead of her closed-door House testimony at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center regarding her connections to Epstein. She posted it to X. This is her opening statement. Oh boy, what does she say? Mr. Chairman, ranking member of the committee, as a former senator, I have respect for legislative oversight and respect its exercise, as do the American people, to be principled and fearless in pursuit of truth and accountability. As we all know, however, too often congressional investigations are partisan political theater, which is an abdication of duty and an insult to the American people. The committee justified its subpoena to me based on its assumption that I have information regarding the investigation into the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me be clear, as I do not. As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island homes or offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified at what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to continue his predatory practices for another decade. So that's just a snapshot. It's like a 4-page opening statement. But the investigation is expanding beyond Clinton. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick could be next in the hot seat. House Oversight Chair James Comer says he might bring in Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick to be deposed in the congressional probe into Epstein, saying it's very possible.
We'll do one more question. Go ahead.
In the spirit of bipartisanship, would you then ask the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to come testify? It seems like he has some information.
That's very possible, and I think I think it's a good possibility that his name will arise in some questioning today.
It'll be on my list, and I have an email I printed off for Hillary to ask about Howard Lutnick today.
Okay.
So
we're asking again, and I want to remind everyone, we've already brought in Alex Acosta and Bill Barr for depositions. That's 2 Republicans in the Trump administration. So this isn't just about Democrats. This is about anyone that has any knowledge of Epstein, the investigation. I think we all agree the government failed. The government failed the victims. And what our role is, we can't prosecute anyone. But what we have been doing is getting transparency to the American people. We subpoena.
So we'll see if Howard Lutnick gets pulled in front of the committee, but his comments, Comer's comments, reveal this is only the beginning. The Clintons have been dodging Epstein questions for years until now. And here is more from Comer before the deposition.
The American people have a lot of questions. To my knowledge, the Clintons haven't answered very many, if any, questions about their knowledge or involvement with Epstein and Maxwell. Again, no one's accusing at this moment the Clintons of any wrongdoing. They're going to have due process, but we have a lot of questions. And the purpose of the whole investigation is to try to understand many things about Epstein. How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world? Was he an asset for our government or any other government? These are the questions that we're going to ask over the next 2 days, and hopefully we'll be able to get some answers. And as always, we're going to release the transcripts. We're going to release the video as soon as everyone has approved it.
It will be interesting to see how that video is presented, especially because Hillary Clinton walked out. The Epstein fallout is spreading globally, with major resignations starting to cascade from the scandal. Breaking news, the president and CEO of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brende resigns over the Epstein files. Another one bites the dust. And new documents are emerging that completely contradict the official Epstein didn't do something to himself narrative, adding fuel. Jesse Waters goes over documents showing major Epstein discrepancies. DOJ documents call his death a murder. Document shows his death was documented the day before, and the device that was DNA tested likely was the wrong one. And of course, Bill Gates admitting to affairs with Russian women. That's also a headline. Did you hear about that? Now, I'll play some of this here. There might be something too spicy for YouTube. We might have to cut out of it, but we'll see.
Possible espionage and a blackmail situation. Why is the prosecutor saying that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Well, this is...
Why are they calling that a murder?
Yeah, this is something that's brand new. We just saw this document in the files from an assistant U.S. attorney. It raises all kinds of new questions related to this on top of crazy things we know about Jeffrey Epstein's death. And this follows a document that apparently was put together announcing his death that was dated actually the day before, which raised some eyebrows. We've seen video of a mysterious individual in orange making his way up the shoe stairwell at 10:30 the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death. I learned from the documents that the official inmate count that night dropped from 73 inmates to 72. The guard who dealt with that says now that they have no memory of why that inmate count changed. So there's a lot of suspicious things going on in addition to what we know about the medical examiner's office.
Yeah, we might show you.
So the FBI evidence obstruction claims are exploding just as Clinton faces her deposition, and the timing could not be more damaging. Representative Luna drops a bomb on the Epstein investigation. We had someone come forward and say there was destruction of evidence under the former deputy director of the FBI. The Clintons under deposition today. The week isn't over yet.
Who do not have access to the files, how can they be confident that the Attorney General, Bondi, leading this charge, or others who are in charge of providing documents, that they really will do so in the interest of justice?
Well, I think that, for starters, you have a bipartisan oversight committee actually working to not cover up, but actually go into all of this, right? We're interviewing the Clintons tomorrow. But to be clear, I mean, the destruction of evidence occurred under previous administrations. And that in itself, if you look at the network that was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, to think that there aren't shady things happening in your government, I think would just be a lie to the American people. The fact is that we did have someone come forward. They did say that there was destruction of evidence under the former deputy director of the FBI. And even if you're looking at the original plea deals that Jeffrey Epstein was given, you know, when he was first charged and then also more recently when he then committed suicide in New York, I mean, he should have never gotten off. He should have never had his sentences dropped down to the way that he did. And there are marks of intelligence surrounding this as well, whether it was foreign or, you know, our own. But I don't think that we're ever going to get the full picture. And
will we ever get the full picture? That remains to be seen. Someone identified as C emails Epstein. I give you permission to do something to him. He lied apparently to you and lied to me. Epstein forwards a message with one word, whoops. The reply, no one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one, and whoops is correct. This is from the Epstein emails. I give you permission. I give you permission. Clinton's not going down without a fight. She's now directly attacking Trump's administration and Pam Bondi. She claims President Trump's administration is pulling her into the Epstein situation as a shiny object to divert attention from him. Clinton says Pam Bondi has broken the law by hiding information that should be made public.
We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated. This is so obvious, and they keep trying to divert. Look at this shiny object. We're going to have the Clintons, even Hillary Clinton, who never met the guy. We're going to have her there. Let's focus on what's really happening here. You have an attorney general and a Justice Department attempting to hide information that should be made public.
And of course, Hillary Clinton raising the stakes because she's now facing the direct questions about the Epstein ties to her foundation. She'll be grilled under oath.
Obviously, most attention is with Bill Clinton. Most attention is with Bill Clinton, who was on this plane of Epstein at least 16 times. There's some very embarrassing photos that have come out in these files. But today, Hillary Clinton will face some equally difficult questions when it comes to their global initiative and foundation. Epstein seems to have played a role in helping the Clintons in that area. And also, Hillary Clinton had a relationship with Maxwell. And while both of them have tried to distance themselves as all of these files came out, Maxwell was invited to her daughter's wedding. So this was not a arm's length relationship.
Yeah, who can ever forget that picture of Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in the aisle as Chelsea Clinton is being walked down the aisle by her father, Bill, her supposed father. But regardless, we do know that tomorrow Bill Clinton is set to be deposed, so expect more fireworks. The Epstein connections are causing a domino effect of resignations across elite institutions. Obama and Clinton operative Larry Summers has resigned from Harvard amid his ties to Epstein. Bill Gates just confessed to flying on Epstein's plane, having 2 affairs with Russian women. Even an ex-Norwegian prime minister who handed Obama his Nobel Peace Prize.
Fox News alert, the Epstein blast radius is expanding, and more names added to the list. Larry Summers, a top operative for Clinton and Obama, today announced he's resigning from Harvard at the end of the year after getting exposed in the files. And Bill Gates is saying sorry. In a town hall at his foundation yesterday, he confessed to having 2 affairs with Russian women while married to his now very wealthy ex-wife, and admitted to flying on Epstein's plane and spending time with him in the U.S. and abroad. But he maintains he did nothing illicit. The billionaire said he met with Epstein starting in 2011, years after Epstein had pleaded guilty in 2008 to soliciting a minor for prostitution. Gates said he was aware of some 18-month thing that had limited Epstein's travel, but said he didn't properly check his background. And we're finding out U.S. Virgin Islands Democrat Governor Albert Bryan Jr. apparently gave Epstein special treatment just before his arrest, helping Epstein with a construction problem he had on Pedophile Island. The global fallout continues. Prince Andrew was first. Now his ex-wife is keeping a low profile, bouncing between properties, even checking into one of the world's most expensive wellness clinics. Reports say she maintained contact with Epstein after his release from prison and even introduced him to her goddaughter. The pressure on Andrew isn't going away. Whistleblowers now alleging he spent taxpayer money on massages. Earlier this month, Prince Andrew was kicked out of his home, the Royal Lodge, and he didn't take it too well. According to the Daily Mail, he shouted, "You can't do this to me. I'm the Queen's son." Remember, Andrew stepped back from royal duties in 2019. Why is he still living on royal property? The Times of London obtained a copy of his lease. Apparently, he hasn't paid rent in 2 decades. He's an international embarrassment. Pranksters hung the prince's arrest photo inside the Louvre in Paris. The Epstein bomb is hitting every corner of the earth. Norway's former prime minister, you know, the one who awarded Obama the Nobel Peace Prize, also known as, quote, Mr. Human Rights, was just charged with gross corruption. They're investigating if he accepted gifts, travel, and loans from Epstein. He says he's innocent, but he's in the files, telling Epstein this: if Trump wins, I'll settle on your island. And he just checked himself into a hospital due to the strain arising in the wake of this case. Maybe he could visit Fergie at that wellness hospital. Now, the British government is about to unseal more documents tied to the former ambassador to the U.S., Peter Mandelson, who was arrested in the Epstein investigation. New emails appear to show Mandelson leaking sensitive information to Epstein. He also says he's innocent, but here he is in the files in his underwear. Why do we know so little? Well, documents show that in July 2019, days after Epstein was arrested, the FBI told the NYPD's sex crimes unit to, quote, stand down. Quote, FBI reached out to NYPD leadership already, and they were told that SUV has been directed to stand down and that all Epstein stuff needs to go to and through us. This was right after Epstein was arrested, as New York prosecutors were actively trying to interview victims, build cases, look at co-conspirators. Why cut them out right then? Was that standard procedure or something else?
Clearly, a cover-up in action. Harvard is cleaning house as the Epstein files expose deep ties between academia and the disgraced founder. World Economic Forum president and CEO Borge Brand resigns after the forum opens investigation into his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. New York Times confirmation gives mainstream credibility to what started as social media rumors about elite resignations. And of course, the former Harvard president and Democrat Larry Summers resigning. Another one bites the dust. After months of legal battles, the Clintons can no longer avoid facing direct questions about their Epstein connections. New York Times, of course, confirming Larry Summers' resignations. And the Clintons are finally sitting down for their Epstein depositions after spending months fighting tooth and nail to avoid it. Bill and Hillary have been huddling with lawyers to prep, refreshing their memories on Epstein's years, and planning how to handle what could blow the whole thing wide open. Epstein blamed Charles on the exact day Prince Andrew stepped down as the UK trade envoy in July of 2011. I assume he knows that this is Charles' doing. Andrew served as the role from 2001 to 2011 before mounting pressure over his ties to Epstein. Harvard's Larry Summers resigning. That's huge, huge news today. AI analysis breaks down Clinton's defensive strategy, revealing her key talking points. Benny Johnson writes, it was authorized. It's hilarious. They're trying to use this to weasel out of answering questions. It was Hillary who demanded this deposition to be live for all to see. Just in, Hillary Clinton's deposition has been paused, reportedly halted after conservative influencer Benny Johnson posted this unauthorized photo sent to him by Lauren Boebert. The Heritage Foundation is connecting Clinton's testimony to broader allegations about her role in political disinformation campaigns. Here are some bullet points on her opening statement: denying any knowledge of crimes, never met him, called the hearing partisan theater, a Republican cover-up to protect Trump. Heritage Foundation confirms that Hillary Clinton, who orchestrated the single greatest misinformation and disinformation campaign in the United States history, the Russian collusion hoax, as a means to overthrow the U.S. government, was directly involved in urging censorship of Americans overseas.
Is in a free fall in Europe. There are two anti-free speech movements that have coalesced. One is in Europe, where it has laid waste to free speech. Germany, France, England, free speech has been eviscerated. And also places like Canada. The U.S. anti-free speech movement began in higher education, then metastasized throughout the government. But this has all reached our shores now. The Berlin World Forum followed the remarks of Vice President Vance on free speech, and the EU was red hot. They gathered in Berlin, and it was the most anti-free speech gathering I've ever been part of. There's only two of us from the free speech community. And they are committed. And, you know, Hillary Clinton was there, and she really fueled the anger. I mean, she, when Twitter was purchased by Elon Musk, she called on the EU to use the infamous Digital Services Act, which is one of the most anti-free speech pieces of legislation in decades. And she called upon the EU to use the DSA to force the censorship of American citizens, force people like Musk to censor. It's an extraordinary act by someone who was once a presidential candidate in the United States. But they are committed to it. And after the World Forum, they further globalized this effort, and they are threatening companies like X with ruinous fines unless they resume censoring American citizens.
So who's at the forefront of trying to squelch your voice? None other than the woman who refuses to reveal hers, finding any excuse to squirm out of a deposition. And the woman who spent 4 years trying to destroy Trump with fabricating evidence now sits under oath, claiming she knows nothing about the most connected criminal in modern history. It's, of course, the same playbook: deny everything, attack the process, blame Republicans, but this time there are receipts. The establishment is scrambling to contain the damage before it spreads. Now, this is bigger than just Hillary Clinton. It's about whether America still believes in equal justice or if we're an official banana republic where the connected elite play by different rules. Clinton orchestrated the greatest political hoax in our history and walked away untouched, and now she's claiming ignorance about Epstein while calling for foreign censorship of American citizens. The pattern is clear. Rules for thee, but not for me. Americans deserve answers. We deserve accountability. So my question for you is, do you think that Hillary Clinton is telling the truth about her Epstein connections? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you stand with America First patriots who demand the truth.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.